Can we talk about the situation here on the ground? Because the International Court of Justice, the European Court of Human Rights, the US, the EU have all demanded guarantees with regards to the freedom of movement in the Laçın corridor nearby, citing the danger of effectively potentially holding a population under siege if that corridor is blocked. What do you know of what's happening in Laçın in the corridor right now?
Well, actually for more than 2 years since the Second Qarabağ War ended, the so-called Laçın corridor functioned as it functioned during the times of occupation, with one difference. It was under control of the Russian peacekeepers, which was part of the trilateral declaration. And there was no disruption, and there was no steps from our side to interfere. In the meantime, situation on the ground was changing, and the reason why representatives of civil society of Azerbaijan to a certain degree started to control the corridor was because of the fact that illegal excavation of natural resources in Qarabağ restarted in the beginning of November last year. Because after the war, it was stopped because it is illegal. These resources belong to us. And several foreign companies were illegally exploiting our gold and copper mines. We could not do anything about that during the times of occupation, but when the war ended, it was obvious that this activity should have stopped. And it stopped. But then in November, it restarted. Representative of civil society asked Russian peacekeepers to allow them to conduct a monitoring on the mines to see what is happening. And because we've seen that iron ore and golden ore was being transported by trucks from Qarabağ to Armenia, accompanied by Russian peacekeepers. So we were denied the right for access, and that is how our civil society representatives started to control it. But again, the road was not closed. It was absolutely free, and the movement was free.
So it was never interrupted? Traffic was never interrupted?
No.
So why do you think these institutions have asked, especially on the part of Azerbaijan, because they said you are responsible for the area surrounding it, so you should ensure the freedom of movement? Why do you think that is? Are they targeting you just because of...
International Court of Justice actually addressed its message to us to communicate with civil society activists, not to disrupt any kind of movement, and we did it. And as soon as we established the border checkpoint on our border with Armenia, which is our legitimate right, which is not contested by anyone, including International Court of Justice, we communicated through my representative here in Shusha with NGOs representatives for them to stop. And they stopped, they left. So now freedom of movement is not blocked. Since we established the border checkpoint on the 23rd of April, there have been more than 2,000 residents of Qarabağ who easily moved to Armenia and back. On 15th of June, Armenia made another military provocation and wounded one of our border security guards. And temporarily, the road was closed for investigation. But then it was reopened. Red Cross restarted again to transport medications and evacuate patients who need treatment in Armenia. But unfortunately, Red Cross trucks, when checked, we found smuggling goods like cigarettes, iPhones, and gasoline. Red Cross admitted that, and they communicated with us saying that they do not bear any responsibility because
the trucks
people
were being used by
but
drivers.
These trucks had their badge, logos. And the drivers had their logos on their uniform. So, so that's how, again, It was blocked, and we asked from Red Cross to stop it, and also asked them to work with us more constructively, because unfortunately, until today, the office in Qarabağ is subordinated not to Baku office, but to Yerevan office, and this is not acceptable, because the whole world recognizes Qarabağ as part of Azerbaijan. Even Armenian Prime Minister said many times that Qarabağ is Azerbaijan, and why Red Cross Hankendi office is not subordinate to Baku office but to Yerevan office. That's our legitimate request.
Would you say that this issue, the issue of Laçın corridor and that border control and this passageway, this crucial passageway, is one of the main obstacles for peace right now?
Well, I don't think so, because situation on the road Laçın-Hankendi changed on the ground on 23rd of April when we established the border checkpoint. Until that time, we had 2.5 years of time to come to peace agreement. The only stumbling block was that Armenia didn't want to recognize Qarabağ as part of Azerbaijan officially. They did it by statements, by oral statements, which is also a position, but they need to sign under the document. So I don't think that these two issues are interrelated, because I hope that peace negotiations with Armenia will end with successful scenario, and hopefully in the coming months.